lady. It's me, Valerie. May I come in? My lady? If you're gonna be like that, then... Still in bed, hmm? You know what your parents would say if they found out. The clocks have been long struck 10, and it is ill-becoming of a princess to so laze about through the morning, even less to be asleep in such an hour. Well, I reckon they would say that it's better to wake up early than to retire late. But, you know, I'm not one to disagree with you on this, my lady. Though your lowly handmaiden is also not who she might convince your parents. If I may be so bold to inquire, just how late were you awake this morning? You know, my lady, if you refrain from answering, I might have to assume the worst, born from a fear of embarrassment, of revealing the truth for its clear and more evident nature. So, how late was it that my charge did lay her head down to sleep, 1 o'clock? 2? 3? 4? Maybe even 5? As I said, your hesitation and bashfulness in responding does not portend a favorable answer, does it? Well, I suppose that explains why you're so tired and so reticent about getting out of bed, Though for the record, I don't mind much, as it's not any of my business when you should sleep and when you should do what else you do, so long as you're taking care of yourself. I merely say it for you and your family's pleasure, and do as I might be commanded. You flatter me, my lady. I merely wish to justify my continued employment to your honor, and prove as good services as is deserved by your grace. Yet you are the princess, so what flattery in your terms I give you is not but what you deserve. You know well I have worked as a maid for several noble ladies over the years, but you're definitely my favorite of them. It is. I will not lie to you, princess. But may I ask you a question? Yes, I suppose you're right. Then, without counting this permission request, may I ask a question? What inclines you to prefer the late night to early morning hours that you should find things to do besides sleep, rather than others do, take your sleep and rise with the sun? No, I don't have much of a preference, I don't think. By nature of my duties, I am accustomed to working early, so I might suppose that might be my preference at present. By the fact that staying up so late would be difficult for me, and I'm quite tired by the day's end. When I was younger and my duties allowed for it, I did sometimes adopt, at times, a sleeping habit more like yours, but for me there was nothing of it, good nor ill, merely that I sometimes did one, and sometimes did the other. Perhaps that is why I ask you now, for I have no real intuitive understanding of why you would prefer to do the other. Particularly to such an extent that she should still be holding her face from me. I mean it as no interrogation, my lady. I mean no offense nor implications of the same. I am merely curious. You are an intriguing woman, my lady, who has my curiosity. Of course, for one, you are the princess of the realm, and thus you have power, a presence of maturity in the way that you carry yourself. You are kind and gentle and well-versed, and in the manners of the court, yet far more observant and cunning than you let on. And as your handmaiden, I am oft afforded a more private side of you, away from responsibility of appearance in the court, an affordance for which I am grateful to see such a wonderfully fascinating noble lady, the princess, no less, in such intimacy. But my lady, your attendance is soon required, and it will take some time for me to ensure that you are sufficiently prepared. So please, princess, get out of bed so we might get you dressed and otherwise taken care of. Good girl. Do you need anything before we started getting ready? Water to relieve yourself? Anything? As you wish. Then let us begin getting you dressed. Alright, you know the deal. Change out of your nightgown and into your slip, and then I'll help you with your dress. So which dress shall it be today? Either your green ones or the blue which Olivia made. Ah, that is also a very wonderful dress, and you know how beautiful I think it is on you, yet. You're most welcome, though I can also assure you that is not my opinion alone. That dress is in good repair. The small tear on the shoulders having been repaired some days ago, and could well be worn if you so wish, my lady. Get your meeting this afternoon with Lady Heather, lovely, is outdoors in the garden and in the weather. I worry that the long sleeves of the dress should prove uncomfortably warm, even as light as the fabric might be. An excellent choice, my lady. I shall fetch that one from your wardrobe. Actually, if you hand me your nightgown which you have left at the top of the dressing screen, I shall put that on its proper place as well. This one, was it? Alright, then I'll set it here for the time being. Are there any modifications or alterations you would like to make on the layers under the dress, my lady? Very well, let's begin. If I may ask, what are your thoughts on Lady Heather Lavely and her aims? Nor are details such discussions something to which I technically ought to be privy, as your mere handmaiden. I know little of the waist specifics, I'm afraid. I know you two have exchanged several letters in the past few months, and that she is here to converse with you in person, yet I know not what about. But given as she is a noble woman, eldest of Duke Lavely, as I recall, known as the clever foxish girl of the nobility, brought in her own kingdom and ours, I feel like perhaps I ought to be concerned. You try not to conspire so that she might not take your spot as princess, that you may continue to avoid your responsibilities, are you? She does have her own distinct claim to the throne. Yet I wonder if such conspiracy should count as treason. My lady, to act in deliberate disregard, nay, in counter regard for the established means of the kingdom, against the will of the monarchs. Ah, but you're not yet queen, so it may do you well to... Well, how useful do we suppose that advice might be? Very well. Then what are you intending to discuss with her? Whether you think it's interesting or not, I'm intrigued. You two seem interesting characters in each your own, so whatever you two might do together has my attention. And yet you seem to determine not to tell me, my lady. Though, at this point, it is most funnier if you don't. Ah, so she is being secretive about this even with you? Perhaps indeed I ought to be concerned. Indeed, though, only because a certain princess is a bit clinging towards a certain personal maids of hers, I suppose it's none of my business to whom you might cling to. Yet, have there been some efforts amongst upper nobility to find you a suitor? Well, regardless of what you might think of any names which have been considered, at some point the rumors will likely be spread once people realize I'm the only person who has seen you in any state of undress in the last 7 years, which seems altogether a larger issue for you than for me. Though I don't reckon you particularly care right now. I see. Either way, though, how about we finish this and get an actual dress on you so I can fix your hair as well? How is it, my lady, that your hair is always such disarray in the mornings? Do you do this on purpose? No, quite frankly. I reckon I'd be rather annoyed if you were to make your hair this disheveled intentionally. But what if it did so? That we could spend more time together? If you were to do it, expressly extend the morning interactions, then I would say you are definitely a bit clinging. And it would be very difficult for you to convince anyone otherwise. For the sake of preventing this conversation of ours roving in circles, I shall choose to believe you. Who's to say? Either way, my lady, are you aware of the other responsibilities today? You might do well, perhaps, to keep better track of your appointments in your own diary. This is a most elegant book in its own right, which might appreciate some use anyways. Whose gift was it? Ah, yes, how could I have forgotten? How has she been doing lately? I have not seen much of her as of late. That's good at least. She's a lovely young lady, and I'm glad she's doing well. Will you pass along my regards next time you see her? Thank you, but in the meantime, you have a tutorial with Duke Melgan in approximately half an hour, then lunch with your father and the Baroness Ishal, and your meeting with Lady Lovely at 3 p.m. As usual, dinner will be held at 7, so you mustn't go too long with her. I might assume that she would be invited, but I'm not sure myself. I may suggest asking the head maid or one of the kitchen staff, as they are more likely to know. Should you wish to avoid asking your parents, I assume. That is wise, my lady. Yet I should caution you from going, as I was saying, too long with Lady Lovely, lest you wish to subject all the other dinner attendants to that same conversation. And her attendance, I believe, is somewhere required following dinner, in capacity that you may not accompany her, so it may be in your best interest to be at least reasonably brief in terms of today. And your attentive attendance should be valued by Duke and your father, so? Precisely. How you prepare for your tutoring? Very reasonable. Alright, your hair has been persuaded into cooperation, so you should be able to be ready. By my estimation, if you look in the mirror, is this to your satisfaction? It is my pleasure. Is there anything else you require from me before your tutoring? Very well, then I shall leave you to your own devices, so that you might do what preparations you need to do yourself. Just don't fall back asleep, princess, okay? Very well. Either Olivia and I shall come shortly to escort you. In the meantime, take care.